Welcome to one of the strangest and darkest stories you'll ever hear in your life. Imagine you're stranded in the middle of the night, your car breaks down in a desolate place, and there's no one around to help. The darkness surrounds you, and in the distance, a faint light shines from an old house that seems to hold mysterious secrets. But what you don't know is that this house isn't what it appears to be, and what you'll discover there will change your life forever. Are you ready to uncover the horror that awaits you in this place? Stay with me, because the story I'm about to tell you is not for the faint of heart. It was a dark, cold winter night, and the chill felt like ghosts wrapping around me. My car broke down in the middle of a deserted highway, far from any sign of life. The road was so empty that even the silence itself was frightening. The car lights flickered and died. The engine made a strange sound and then stopped completely. I tried starting it again, but it was useless, and there was no phone signal. Left with no choice, I started walking down the pitch-black road. The cold pierced my bones, and the wind made eerie sounds, like whispers I couldn't understand. As I walked, I suddenly saw a faint light glowing between the trees. The light seemed to call out to me. I cautiously approached and found an old, decrepit house. Its walls were cracked, and the windows were dusty, but a warm light glowed inside, unnaturally inviting. I hesitated, but the fear of staying outside in the darkness pushed me to move closer. I knocked gently on the door, and after a few moments, it opened. A tall, pale man stood there, his sunken eyes fixed on me. His smile was unsettling, but it was kind enough to make me feel slightly at ease. He said in a soft voice, "Car trouble, come in, son, it's not safe out here." I stepped inside hesitantly, and the first thing that greeted me was the smell. The air was heavy with a strange scent, a mix of mold, blood, and disinfectant. The house was filled with old furniture, and the shadows danced on the walls thanks to the dim light. The man pointed to a worn-out couch and said, "Sit here, I'll call for help. My wife will prepare something for you to eat." From the kitchen emerged a thin, almost skeletal woman. Her face looked slightly deformed, as if she was wearing a mask. Her smile seemed forced, but it stretched unnaturally wide across her face. She placed a bowl of soup in front of me and said, "You must be tired and hungry. This soup will give you strength." I looked at the soup. It was dark, with chunks of meat and overcooked vegetables floating in it. When I took a bite, an unfamiliar metallic taste hit my tongue. The meat was chewy and had a strange, unpleasant flavor I couldn't identify. "Do you like it?" the woman asked, staring at me with her wide eyes. "Yes, it's good," I lied, forcing myself to take another bite. Across the table, a teenage boy sat silently, staring at me without blinking. His smile was faint, but it sent chills down my spine. It felt fixed, unnatural, as if carved into his face. I started feeling that something was terribly wrong with this house. Every instinct in me screamed to leave, but I forced myself to stay calm and said, "I need to use the bathroom." The man replied quietly, his gaze sharp, "Second door on the left." I walked down the dim hallway but didn't head to the bathroom. At the end of the hall I saw another door, slightly ajar, with a faint light seeping out. My curiosity and fear pushed me to open it. It was a basement. The air was thicker here, heavier. The smell hit me like a wall, a sickly sweet mix of rot and old blood. I scanned the room with my flashlight, and what I saw made my stomach turn. There was a table in the center, its surface stained with dark, dry spots. Hooks hung from the ceiling, some empty, others holding dark bags from which strange droplets fell. Unclear remains were scattered across the floor, some broken, others in an inexplicable state. On a shelf I saw a skeleton, its empty eyes staring at me. The taste of the soup I had eaten began to rise in my throat. "What are you doing here?" came the man's voice suddenly. I spun around to see him standing at the entrance of the basement, his face no longer calm or smiling. His features had twisted into something monstrous. Behind him stood the teenage boy, holding a long, rusty knife, and his wife, whose smile had now transformed into something predatory. "You can't leave now," the man said coldly, taking a step closer. Panic gripped me. I shoved him aside and bolted up the stairs. Their footsteps thundered behind me, accompanied by their eerie, half-echoing laughter. I crashed through the front door, running blindly into the woods. The shadows seemed to move with me, as if they were alive and chasing me. Finally, I saw the headlights of a car in the distance. I threw myself onto the road and the car screeched to a halt. The driver stepped out, his face pale with shock. "What happened to you?" "Please help me," I begged, climbing into the passenger seat. "Get me out of here." I told the police everything, and when we returned to the spot, the house was gone. The land was empty, just an overgrown patch of weeds. But as we were leaving, I heard it again. The laughter of the woman, faint and chilling, echoing through the trees. After everything we've been through, do you think this was just a fantasy? Was what we saw truly real, or is there something dark hiding in that place? No matter the answer, remember that some secrets should never be uncovered, and some places should never be visited. But worst of all, some things don't stay behind, because they follow you wherever you go. If you enjoyed the video, don't forget to subscribe for more dark stories. And if you have the courage, share this story with your friends. It might be the last thing you ever hear about.